The rise of the Nazis. The desperation caused by the economic depression in Germany in the 1920s and in the 1930s meant that the German people were willing to consider any political party that promised something different. The Nazis increased in popularity during the Depression. There was popular discontent with the Weimar government, and economic instability meant that many Germans had lost faith in democracy. This created an opportunity for extremist parties to grow. During the federal elections in Germany of 1928 to 1932, the Nazi Party in 1928 had just 3% of the vote. By 1930, it had 18%. By 1932, 37%. And by November 1932, 33%. The Communist Party from 1928 went to 11%. The Communist Party for 1930 was 13%. July 1932, 15%, and November 1932, 17%. The vote for the SPD party in 1928 was 30%, by 1930 just 25%, by July 1932 22%, and by November 1932 20%. Between 1928 and 1932, the Nazi Party pulled ahead of the KPD. The Nazis became the biggest party in the Reichstag. Between July and November 1932, the Nazi Party lost votes, but it was still very popular. The Social Democratic Party lost support in every federal election. The KPD, or the Communist Party of Germany, and the Nazi Party both grew in popularity after the Depression. Both parties competed for the support of Germans that were hit hard by the economic crisis. Between 1929 and 1932, the membership of the KPD, or the Communist Party, grew from 130,000 to almost 300,000. However, the Nazi Party's membership grew even more rapidly, and soon the KPD got left behind. An important factor in the Nazis' popularity was Hitler's personality. Hitler was patriotic and energetic and was able to effectively convey his enthusiasm to his supporters. His speeches brought hope to those who listened. In the Nazis' 1932 election campaign, Hitler was depicted as Germany's saviour. He stood up to the Weimar government and opposed this threat of communism. The Nazi Party appealed to different groups in society. The Nazis had promised a more prosperous and less humiliating future, which was very popular among the German people. By 1930, membership had grown over 300,000. After the onset of the Depression, the Nazi Party's popularity soared. Hitler promised to make Germany great again, which appealed to the growing ranks of unemployed people and young people who wanted a brighter future. Some people also supported the Nazis' anti-communist and anti-Jewish views. Communists and Jews were useful scapegoats for Germany's economic problems and gave the Germans someone to blame. Some wealthy businessmen who had lost out in the Great Depression turned to the Nazi Party. They approved of the Nazis' anti-communist stance and wanted the economic prosperity Hitler had promised. After the Depression hit in Germany, more Germans began to vote. Participation in the elections increased around 10% between 1928 and 1932. Many of those new voters were attracted by the changes that the Nazi Party promised. The Nazi Party was well organised. By 1930, the Nazi Party seemed strong and organised in comparison to the Weimar government. The SA held demonstrations, distributed propaganda, and appeared more disciplined than they had been in the early 1920s. The Nazi Party became more respectable, and this helped Hitler secure the support from the middle class. The propaganda that they used was very efficient. It often focused on regional issues and targeted specific groups. This made individuals feel valued by the party and stole votes from smaller parties.